So right guys, welcome back. Um so from the last video we talked about pivot tables. All right, so we'll take it up from there. So I was explaining that your columns here appears here, right, for your pivot table, and then said this is where you drag your values. The columns, you drag them here. All right, and then you have filters here. So for example, let's say I want to filter by let's look at our source data. All right, I might want to filter by date. All right, so all I need to do is, you can see there is a day, year, or something. So let me say I want to filter by month. So it comes up here. All right, so all the months appear. All right, and then you can say multiple select, and then be able to select. You can click out this. Let's say you want to select the 10th month, that is October. So that filters through the data as well. All right, it filters through the data. So as you filter, so you can apply more than one filter. Let's say you want to apply country as well. So country, and let's say you want it, so you have to use multiple filter. Click out. All right, and then press UK. You can also search from here. Search for the country. Maybe you have a list, a long list. You can also search from there. All right, so you click OK, and then it filters for just USA. All right, so maybe in USA this is Peacock Paul is still the top performing. All right, this is how to make judicious use of your data. All right, so pivot table is so powerful. All right, and you can use it for so many other things. Let's say, for example, we can even introduce sliders, or for example, let's say we have this now, the source data. I want to include let's say you want to arrange it by the country, and then the salesperson. So what do you do? Let's say we have this. All right, so let's copy this pivot table as well. Control C. Let me come here and say Control V. Okay, so the area is overlapping, so let me Control V again, Control C. All right, and then Control V here, so that it won't overlap. All right, so let me press Escape. So you can see. All right, so let me drag out all this back. So I have my pivot table as well. Right, so let's say I want to see the country, so I can also search from here as well. Maybe it's a long list, right? So that country comes up, right? So I can either click, all right, or I drag it. Salesperson, so I can drag. So anyone, so you see this now. So let's now say I want to see the sales amount. All right, the salary now with this, right? So as I told us, you want to format, this is not formatted right, so the way your data looks is so very important, right? I can right click and say number format, right? And then I come to currency, pick my currency, set this to 0, and I'm good, right? I can arrange, all right, sort from largest to lowest. All right, so I can, there is a filter here, I believe. So let's clear all filter. So you can come to this small arrow here, and they say clear filter. So it clears the filter. All right, so that you see all the countries. You can see this. This is how your data is. But sometimes you might not want it this way. I've gone for an interview that I was doing what I was doing my pivot table this way, but they said no, they don't want it this way. They want it arranged in columns. So you can come to design. All right, you can come to design, and from design, all right, you can come to report layout, and then pick different styles you want. So for example, in that interview, they wanted me to put it this way, right? So that UK stays separate, salesperson stays separate, right? So something of this nature, so that it won't be overlapping like what we have here, that we just have UK and then everything just overlap. But with that, all right, there are different formats. You can see this one. There's show in tabular, show in outline, there's compact. All right, so you can say repeat all the way. So you can make it this way. At least this makes sense for cases where you have to drop so many um data points in the rows, right? So that it won't overlap. So I think this makes sense. All right, so this is it. So you can sort. All right, so there are so many things you can do by right clicking. You can also, this pivot table fields, you can hide it. All right, so just say hide field list. If you want to see it again, say come show field list, right? So I think we talk about this. So here we can, you saw me, we can change it to average. Let's say you want to see the average, so we change it straight from here. All right, so that is summarize values as. So you can also show values as, for example, you want to show this value as the percentage of the grand total. So what is the grand total? For example, this is 84,000, right? So you want to show this by the percentage of the grand total. So what do? You just say show values as, right? So you can percentage, you can see running total is the difference and all that. So what I want to do is, let's say percentage of the grand total. So you can see now, so you have this, so meaning is dividing this value by the total that we had, the 84,000 plus. So you can do so many things. All right, so you can also click on this to show details. So what does it do is, on that pivot table, it gives you where the data that pivot table or what you clicked on is after. So let me explain what I mean by that. So I'm clicking on King Larry now, right? So I might want to see, okay, what data set gives me this 83%. I want to see the full data set, right? So all I need to do is either I come here and say, so sorry, come to the value here and say show details. All right, or I do what? I just double click on this value here and it gives me, I'll just double click and it will give me. So you can see that it's giving me order ID, salesperson, salesperson ID, sales name. But you notice that it's just for King Clary here, right? Everything must be about King Clary, right? Because we just want to see his own contribution on a daily and all that. So you can see his salary, you can see his contribution on a daily. Okay, this for day 28 in month, that is August 28, right? So this was his contribution, like that. So that does a breakdown, right? So that's what that is for. All right, so let's continue. All right, so that is that. So you can also sort. Let's say, for example, what we have here, let's say we cleared all filter. All right, you can just say come to this, right? Okay, it's not filtering from here. So just select all here. Click OK. So it's select all. Come here again, select all, click on this, check this, and then it selects all. So let's say you want to also do like the top 5 performing agents, right? So all you need to do is come to click on this arrow here, all right? So and then you come to what? You come here and say value filters, right? So top 10, all right? You come to top 10, but now you want to do top 5 performing, right? Change this to 5, all right? Now it now depends on which value is it. Do you want to do top 5 based on the orders raised or based on the sales amount? So let's say you want to do it based on sales amount. Just click on this drop down and then change it to sum of sales amount. Sum of order amount. So it's order amount, right? Okay, and then that does that. That gives you, so these are the top 5 performing. All right, so let's get it now. So these are insights into your data. All right, so if you click on this side as well, let's say on sale on name, all right, you click on this, so you can do a lot of group and ungrouping, showing properties. You can expand. All right, let's say you want to collapse now, so to collapse just UK and US, let's say you want to collapse, also collapse entire feed. That gives you okay, you want to collapse this. All right, so collapse entire feed. That gives you just UK and US, right? You can see it. You've been able to see just the value of UK and US at a glance, right? So you can also click on this plus button here, all right, individually, and then you expand. If you want to collapse, click on that button as well, and then you collapse. All right, so you can also collapse from here. So you can also collapse. We collapse the entire field. You can collapse and expand as well. So based on what you want to do. All right, there are other settings you can do from here as well. Pivot table options. All right, so here, let's say you don't want this grand total to show. All right, this grand total here, what can you do? All right, so what you can do is you come here. So because those are your columns, right? So you don't want to show, you can just click on check this, show grand totals. You don't want to show grand totals, so you say okay. Now grand total will disappear from here. All right, so maybe just you don't want to see that grand total, and you want to just to click on any part of this. You must ensure you are not outside the pivot table, must be inside that pivot table, right? So you right click, right, and then you right click and say pivot table options, right? So you just come back here again. You want to show again, you do what? You show grand totals, right? So these are just settings. All right, so probably you want these are display settings. You want to always sort from A to Z, right? So anytime you are picking, it sorts the data from A to Z. All right, you want to refresh data when opening. So let's say you always want to refresh your data, so meaning let's say we close this file now. All right, so if for example I update something from this source file, right, I can change something from here. So if I change this guy is in formula form, escape. So let me say I control C and then let's say I pasted value, right? So as it is, if let's say I make any changes to this guy, immediately I come to my pivot table. Let's say let's expand all. So I told us we can come here, expand entire field, right? So that expands all. All right. So that is how you can manually can see what is happening here. That bookchan B, that BOB that I removed, it has removed it, right? So that is what this refresh option is. So when you open your table, your pivot table, it refreshes data immediately, right? So layout as well. Probably you don't want to see empty cells format. Under format here, you say you don't want to see empty cells. So for empty cells, show blank, right? So if a cell is empty, just show blank. For error value, show this. So depending on what you want, sorry, so depending on what you want, you can do that. So you can just play around this. All right. So this also is like allow multiple filters per field, right? So for example now, if I want to filter here, right? All right, so I can tell Excel to allow me do multiple filters, right? So you can see, is that what okay, so just okay, so all right, you can see, so I can come to my pivot table options and say okay, allow display. How did you see that? How did you see that? Trying to look for that now. So allow multiple filters per field, right? So that is that about that. Include filter items in totals. So this is, for example, you filtered for so let me just show us. You can see that there is a change here. All right, so these filtered items we want to include in total, so we want to ensure that it is exclusive to what we filtered. So you can come here and say okay, include filter items in total, right? So depending on the option you want, these are so you can also name your pivot table from here. I think I told us. So let's say table 2. So this is very important, especially when you are working with so all right, that is that about that. So as I was saying, one other thing you can do, okay, let me copy this. All right, let me bring it here, Control V. All right, let me just reduce this. All right, and then let me remove all that we have here. So okay, so we have something of this nature. All right, let's see, I want to delete this, don't need this any longer. Let's say I want to copy this here. Okay, let's just leave this here, right? So I can string these ones to give me space, right? Let's work with date, right? Date. So look at this date now. So Excel does something. You can see we have date, but it has broken it down into month, quarter, year, right, and days. So this is one very important function. All right, so let's now say you want to see sales, order amount. All right, so you can see it has broken this down. So but we don't need this. All right, we don't need this, so we can remove this. All right, so remove. All right, click on this, remove, click on this, remove. Right, so what we just need is just these two. All right, so you can see what is happening here. Okay, wait, why is it dragging the other date to? So you can see it has broken it down. So but what we need is just this. Okay, so it's bringing it shouldn't be including it in columns, right? So the best bet is to just insert a new pivot table. So how do you insert a new pivot table? So let's delete this. All right, so if you want to delete, you must highlight everything. You delete, so you can come here, insert, right, pivot table. So from table range, so it can tell you what table range. But now, because we have added our data to the data model, just say from data model, right? So to tell you, okay, location, right? So the existing location, want it here. So right, okay. So because we've added our data to the data model, right? So it has just given us a lot of tables, right? But what we are working with is the table 5, remember? So you can come here and say show inactive. So it's showing all tables here in all. Right, it's showing all tables here, but we just need table 5, right? That is the only one we need. So what I did was to come to insert, say pivot tables, right? And then from data model, because remember when we're creating the other pivot table the other time, we added to data model. So we just pick this, this table, right? And then right click and say show inactive tab, so that when we click here, it will show that table in active tab. So that's another way you can add table instead of copying the pivot tables, right? So let's now pick date. Now let's pick date. So you can see you have your date. All right, so let's pick order amount, right? So order amount, so you have it this way, right? So now if you click on this, Excel has done into quarter, into, you can see month down to the days. All right, so I can collapse all like I told us. All right, but there are sometimes what you just need to see is just the month and let's say the year. So you can come here and right click and say group. So you can see it has picked all this. So what I need is just the year and the month. So I'll click those two and click OK. So you can see it has given me just the year. Alright, okay, it's still giving me. So let's do that again. What's happening? Okay, so just give me the year and the month. So it's giving me that. So remove that. It's because the other date is still here. So remove the other dates from here. So you just need the year and the month. These are ways you can. So you can also use group. You can also ungroup. All right, you can see. So ungrouping means don't show me in granularity. What do you mean by granularity? All right, granularity is a breakdown. So for example, if you have 5 males in the class, 5 males, 10 females. So the granularity in that class is still 2, because we have 2 sets of people, males and females. All right, for date as well, the granularity comes into quarter, months and days. So that's like 3 granularity, right? So that's what we call granularity. So we don't want it in granularity. That's why we can just say we want to see day by day. So what do? You just say ungroup as we have done now, right? So that ungroups your data so that you can see day by day, right? So for example, you want to, this is very important, maybe you want to see the day that has the let's sort now and say from largest. So which day what do we have the highest sales? So you can see it was in on the 2nd of April 2010. That's when we had the highest sales. So we can do a lot of analysis with this, right? We can now maybe add the sales agent and see who has the highest date. So that is that. So ungrouping is very important. So you can see if you group as well, you see seconds and months, and you want to group to that granularity of hours, days and all that. So that is that. That is basically that. So I've told us about how you can use do value filters, right? Top 10, you can do between, less than, based on what you want, you can do that. And of course, showing us the design here, how you can change the look, all right? And of course, this is where you can do what you can analyze as well. You can add pivot charts, right? So for example, I want to change this, right, to sales, right, sales agent, and so I can always just say come to pivot table analyzer. Okay, so pivot tables, right? So I can just come to pivot table analyze, so and then pivot chart, right? And then insert pivot chart depending on what I want to insert. So let's say I want to insert a bar chart that looks like this, and then click OK, right? So that gives me the chart, all right? So I can now edit this. I can as well, I deleted now. I can as well do what? Just right click, all right? Or I will just highlight this, or just click on anyone and come to insert and come to pivot chart. So anyway, it's still way. So same thing, all right? You still insert what you need to insert, all right? So that is that about that. So you can as I said, so you can also insert slicers and timelines. So how does that work? So we'll try that out as well. All right, let me clean this, right? So let's say we want to insert, this is the names and this is their sales amount, right? And let's say this, let's make this let's make this okay, we've reduced what is there, so that's why it's not giving us. Okay, so let's say these are names, right? These are names. Let's clear filter from names. So you just click on that small arrow and then clear filter. All right, so let me insert a column here so that there will be space between this and this. So let's say, for example, now we have the orders, the count of orders, right? That's the number of orders they raise. So you can rename these guys as well. Just double click, all right? Double click so that we will give it the right name, all right? So let's say count of order. You just click, hit enter, double click this as well. You can Control A and say salespersons. All right, yes. So same thing. So let me just, you can do same thing for this. All right, double click sales person, right? Then sum of order. The reason why this one is popping up for those values is because they are values, right? We pick them. So sum, I'm just saying sum for example. So we have this. So I can click on any of these guys and come to pivot options. You can see pivot table options, right? And say insert timeline. So all what we're doing when we're saying group and ungroup, right? You can also do them from, you can see group, ungroup, right? Naming of pivot table, you can do it from here as well, instead of going to pivot table options. All right, you can do all those ones from here as well. So let's say I want to insert slicer now. So let's say I want to insert slicer based on let's say based on country, right? Country as the slicer. Click OK, and then it brings up what slicer from it, right? You can see. So slicer is just to slice your data, right? Slice it like that, just to filter. So instead of doing manual filtering through these arrows, you just come here and insert slicers. So it makes it nice. So you can now click on this. You can see, what did you notice? This one is filtered, but it's not affecting this, right? It's not affecting this table. So which is very important. It has to filter out through everything that is on your screen. That is how we are going to do build our dashboard. So it's filtering this. Look at this. It's filtering this, but it's not filtering this other table. So what can you do so that it filters this other table? So click on this. All right. Click on this pivot table analyzer. All right. If I click on this now, I should have some options. Okay. So I just want to, I saw it here not too long, so that's why. So so it's not coming up here. So but there is nothing, nothing to. So but first thing is ensure your guys are named, your pivot tables are named. So pivot table option, let's name this pivot 1, right? Okay, pivot 1, let's make it pivot 3, right? And then let's check the name of this as well. Pivot table options. This is, let's name this one pivot 4, for example. So it's filtering this, but it's not filtering through this. So what do? Just come to your slider, right click, and come to report connection. So you can see, so it's filtering just pivot 4. So you just want to join pivot 3, right? So you just click on pivot 3. Even if you want to let it to filter through this pivot 1, just click OK. So instantly you see that it's now filtering both now. So you click USA to filter both. So these are count of orders, these are the sum. If you uncheck everything, if you want to unfilter everything, just click on this funnel and then everything unfilter. So that's how you use slicer to slice your data. So you see more use cases when we build our dashboard. All right, so that is that about that. I hope that is clear. So the same thing, we can also insert come to pivot table analyzer. So insert timelines. So timelines is also slicers, but just for what? For date. That's the only difference, right? So if I click date now, it can only work for date. So it gives me date slicer, and then the same way, let me check if it's slicing through both. So it's also working for just this. So it's not working, you can see. Can go. So it's filtering to so you can see it's filtering, but it's showing months, right? So I can say I want to see days, depending on what I want. So I want to see days. Yeah. So is there any filter here? Let's check. So there's no filter here. So this that the low, it won't bring up anything. So so you can see the data for the count of orders for these days. So it's returning something, right? So but it's filtering just this. It's not filtering this other table. So what do? The same way, right click and say report connection. So you can see it's reporting just 3. So you join pivot 4 as well, and then it does for both, right? So that's how slicers and timelines work, right? So I hope this is clear. All right. So let me touch. So that's that about uh, pivot tables. All right. So as we move on and the use cases, you see how more it, but basically that's all you should know. So I've told us how you can hide and do all stuff, right? So let me see. So that's basically it, right? So let's move. Let's forge ahead. All right. So let's continue. All right. So um, let's treat Power Query. All right. So using our data, our source data as well. So run through Power Query. All right. We're not finished this in this video, but in the next video or during our live session, we'll conclude on Power Query. All right. So how do you go about Power Query? So the thing is, you come to data. All right. So you can get data. So Power Query is so versatile that you can either get your data directly from outside. So from file, Excel, from CSV, from different formats. You can get it from databases, right? So you can get it from Azure, right? Azure SQL database, analytics, blob storage, and all. You can get it from Power BI, right? You can get it from online, depending on your source. You can get your data from anywhere. So, and of course, you can also get your data from what you are working on. So that's one powerful importance of Power Query. All right. So how do you add your data, this data now, to Power Query? So you can come to data. You see this is from table or range. That is from this. You can see from web, from CSV, as I've told us, recent sources and all. So we are getting our data from this table range. All right. So what do? Just shift control star to highlight all, and then say you are getting it from table range. So instantly another interface pops up that links you up to Power Query. You can see, so we are in the Power Query interface. So it will load. So let's expand this. So it will load your data right away to this interface. You can see what you have in Excel is now in Power Query Editor. So in Power Query Editor, for this video, I will just explain what it entails. All right, what it entails. All right. So from here, I can do at home. You can do a lot of transformations. All right. You can split. You can. These are data types. You can merge. You can append. All right. Data sources. All right. I wouldn't want this lecture to be that long. You can do a lot of transform. So probably we're going to do that in our next class. All right. Week 3. All right. So that we'll now talk about uh transformation. All right. You can transform. You can merge. You can add columns. You can do a lot of stuff in Power Query. So I'm just going to show us the interface for this video, but there are a lot more. All right. So that's about that. So I hope you've learned something. So you let me go back. So I'm just going to close. So I don't want to load it. So I can also come here. You come to this top left here. You have Excel. So if I click on this guy here, it takes me back to Excel. So I'm discarding changes. So I'm discarding changes. Don't worry, I will expatiate more on this. Alright, so for now we'll end this session. Alright, I'll send this video. See you in the next class. Bye.